What if I told you that a single dollar and a piece of advice from one of the richest men on the planet changed someone's life forever? This isn't some fairy tale. This is a true story that will leave you speechless. Elon Musk, the mastermind behind Tesla, SpaceX, and a whole lot of groundbreaking technology, gave just $1 to a man. But that dollar wasn't just a handout, it came with life-changing advice. At first, the man had no idea how much this moment would shape his future. But little did he know that simple act of kindness and that one powerful piece of advice would set him on a path to becoming a millionaire. And trust me, what happened next is shocking. In this video, you're about to discover exactly what happened when this man took Elon Musk's advice to heart. You'll learn how a mindset shift and a small gesture can change the course of someone's life. This isn't just about money. It's about seizing opportunities and transforming your life from the inside out. So stick with us till the end to find out how this unbelievable story unfolds and why you should start thinking differently about the opportunities in your own life. Welcome to Craze TV. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more inspiring stories like this one. Let's dive in. He was just like any other person working hard, trying to make ends meet. He had the typical struggles of someone trying to build a better future, paying bills, meeting deadlines, and dreaming of a life beyond the daily grind. Yet despite his efforts, something always seemed to hold him back. There were opportunities around him, but they felt out of reach. No matter how much he tried, he couldn't seem to break free from the endless cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. He was stuck. The man knew there had to be more to life, but he was unsure of how to unlock it. For years, he had tried different jobs, learned new skills, and read countless books about success. Yet something was missing. He couldn't figure out why, despite working hard, success still felt like a distant dream. Every day, he saw people around him advancing, taking risks, and achieving great things. But for him, the doors to those opportunities were closed, locked behind a feeling of uncertainty and fear of failure. He didn't lack ambition, he lacked direction. He knew he needed something, or rather, someone to show him the way. And then, by sheer luck or fate, everything changed. One day, he crossed paths with someone who would alter the course of his life forever. It was a brief encounter, a random moment in time, yet it held the potential to reshape his entire future. Elon Musk, the visionary entrepreneur behind Tesla and SpaceX, was in the same place at the same time. The man couldn't believe his eyes. Elon Musk, the man who revolutionized industries and became one of the wealthiest people on the planet, was standing right in front of him. At first, the encounter seemed like nothing more than a passing moment. The man was starstruck, but he didn't expect anything to come of it. However, what happened next was something completely unexpected. Elon Musk, known for his unconventional approach to success, saw something in the man that others often missed. It wasn't his wealth or fame that drew Musk's attention. It was something deeper, a spark of potential. Perhaps it was his hunger for change or the determination in his eyes. But Musk recognized that this man wasn't just another face in the crowd. He saw someone who had the drive to change his life, if only he knew how to channel it. In that brief moment, Elon Musk did something no one else had done for this man. He offered him more than just advice. He offered him a chance. And what happened next would shock everyone. Elon Musk handed him $1. It seemed like a small, insignificant gesture, but in that moment, it was anything but. For the man, it felt like something much bigger, a turning point, a symbol of possibility. Musk, known for his revolutionary ideas and the wealth that came with them, had just handed him $1, as if it was the key to unlocking a new world. In the context of everything this man had been through, that dollar was more than just currency. It wasn't about the money, it was about the moment. That dollar represented a shift, a new way of thinking, and a chance to take control of his own destiny. It was as if Musk had transferred a piece of his own vision and belief in success to him. For someone who had been stuck for so long, it was a gift unlike anything he had ever received. He didn't know it at the time, but this simple act of kindness was about to change the way he saw the world. As he took the dollar, He couldn't help but wonder what it meant. Why would Elon Musk, a billionaire, give him a single dollar? Was this just an ordinary act, or was there something more to it? Before he could voice his confusion, Musk spoke. His words weren't grand or filled with complicated theories. They were simple yet profound. Musk looked him in the eye and said, "The key to success is in how you think and act. It's not about waiting for opportunities, but creating them." At first, the man didn't fully grasp the weight of those words. They were clear, but they didn't make sense in the moment. How could success be tied to how you think and act? For someone who had spent years trying to make ends meet, it seemed almost too simple. After all, he had been working hard his whole life. What was missing? He realized that Musk wasn't just talking about working hard. He was talking about a shift in mindset. Musk wasn't telling him to work harder. He was telling him to think differently, to take control of his own path. It wasn't just about waiting for life to present an opportunity. Too many times he had hoped for something to come along, a job offer, a lucky break, a chance meeting. But Musk's advice was different. It was about seizing opportunities, not waiting for them to appear. Musk wasn't just handing him a dollar. He was handing him the power to create his own future. "You can't wait for things to happen to you," Musk continued. "You have to take action, make your own luck, and build the opportunities you need to succeed." Those words hit the man like a lightning bolt. It was a new way of thinking, something that had never occurred to him before. Musk was telling him that he had the ability to shape his own future, to stop relying on external circumstances to determine his success. It wasn't about the dollar itself, but the power that lay within that simple exchange. Musk had just given him the key to unlocking his potential, and the man knew in that moment that he could never go back to the way things were. He had to change. He had to act. And he had to believe in his own ability to make things happen. At first, the man was skeptical. The idea that a simple piece of advice from a billionaire could change his life seemed almost absurd. He had heard plenty of motivational speeches and read numerous books that promised the secret to success, but nothing had ever worked for him. How could this advice be any different? How could this advice change my life? He wondered. He had worked hard for years, juggling different jobs and doing everything he could to get ahead. Yet, he found himself in the same situation, constantly struggling to make ends meet. Nothing had ever come easy, and no matter how many efforts he made, success always felt just out of reach. Musk's advice, while powerful, seemed too simple, too abstract. How could just thinking differently and acting differently change so much? In the back of his mind, the man couldn't shake the doubts. He had spent so much of his life waiting for the right opportunity to come along, hoping that things would somehow improve. Was it really as simple as Musk suggested, creating your own opportunities rather than waiting for them? The man couldn't quite picture how that would work for him. He had no big plans, no grand schemes, and certainly no access to the kind of resources that Musk had. The notion that he could shape his own future just by changing how he thought and acted seemed almost too good to be true. But something about Musk's words stuck with him. Maybe it was the confidence in Musk's voice or the undeniable truth in his message. For the first time in a long while, the man began to consider the possibility that the real change wasn't in the world around him, it was in himself. Maybe he had been looking at the situation all wrong, focusing too much on the circumstances instead of taking control of the way he approached life. Despite his skepticism, there was a small part of him that wanted to believe. Instead of ignoring Elon Musk's advice, the man decided to take a leap of faith. For the first time in a long while, he felt a spark of hope. Maybe Musk had seen something in him that he hadn't yet recognized in himself. Maybe it was time to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating those moments. He wasn't sure where to start, but he knew he had to make a change. His life had been a series of small failed attempts at success, and he realized that what he had been doing up until now wasn't working. Musk's words echoed in his mind, urging him to think differently, to act differently. So he made a decision. He would take action. The first thing he did was start questioning his own mindset. He had spent years focused on his limitations, the things that held him back, the things he couldn't control. He thought of all the missed opportunities, all the closed doors. But Musk's advice had made him realize that he had been too focused on waiting for something to happen. He needed to change his approach. Instead of seeing the world as a place of obstacles, he began to see it as a place full of potential waiting to be tapped into. If he wanted to create opportunities, he had to stop waiting for them to come to him. This shift in perspective wasn't easy, but it was a start. With this new mindset, he began to look at his life and his surroundings with fresh eyes. He realized that there were opportunities right in front of him, but he had been blind to them. The small side gigs he had dismissed in the past suddenly looked like viable ways to make extra money. The idea of turning a hobby into something more serious began to seem like an exciting challenge rather than a far-fetched dream. The people he had once thought were irrelevant in his pursuit of success were now viewed as potential mentors or collaborators. Every interaction, every moment became an opportunity to learn or grow. The world around him started to shift. He took his first step by revisiting the small business ideas he had always dismissed as unrealistic. He had tried a few times before, but it had never gone anywhere. Now, instead of focusing on the failures, he focused on what he could learn from them. Musk had mentioned creating opportunities, and that was exactly what he was determined to do. He spent hours researching, reading, and planning. It wasn't just about working hard. It was about working smart, using what he already had in a new way. He realized that his past failures weren't mistakes. They were stepping stones, lessons that had prepared him for this moment. Now armed with a fresh perspective, he was ready to try again. The man also started to take more risks, something he had always avoided in the past. He had been conditioned to play it safe, to stick to what was familiar. But Musk's advice had inspired him to take bold steps, even if they seemed small. He started reaching out to people he once thought were out of his league, successful entrepreneurs, potential investors, and business contacts. Instead of waiting for the perfect opportunity to fall into his lap, he decided to create his own. He sent emails, made phone calls, and attended networking events. Every door he knocked on wasn't a potential rejection. It was a step towards something greater. The more he reached out, the more he realized that success wasn't about being handed something. It was about persistence, about putting yourself out there, about making things happen. He also began reevaluating his daily habits. He had always worked hard, but now he was working with purpose. Musk had mentioned that success was tied to thinking and acting differently, so he made it a point to do things he hadn't done before. He started waking up earlier, dedicating time each morning to work on his business ideas. He set clear goals, broke them down into smaller tasks, and took action every single day. No task was too small if it moved him closer to his goals. He began seeing progress in ways he hadn't before. Slowly, but surely, the pieces started coming together. One of the most significant changes was his newfound sense of confidence. For the first time, he felt like he was in control of his future. He had stopped waiting for things to happen and started making them happen. He knew that the journey would be long and challenging, but he was ready. The doubts that had once held him back began to fade as he took small steps toward his goals. He realized that his success was not determined by the circumstances he had been born into or the challenges he faced. It was determined by his willingness to act, to make choices that pushed him forward, no matter how difficult or uncertain they seemed. As time passed, the changes became more evident. The man's business began to grow, and so did his confidence. What started as a small idea began to gain traction. He found clients, built a network, and started to see financial success. The results didn't come overnight, but they came because he took that first step, because he decided to act. Every day, he applied Musk's advice, and every day, he saw a little more progress. Slowly, the dream of becoming a successful entrepreneur was no longer a distant hope. It was a reality. He was building one decision at a time. Over time, the change was undeniable. At first, it had been difficult for the man to see any immediate results. He still faced the same challenges, the same daily grind, but there was a subtle shift taking place within him. The more he applied Musk's advice, thinking differently and creating opportunities, He started to notice things that had always been there, yet had previously gone unnoticed. It was as though a veil had been lifted, and for the first time, he could truly see the world around him for what it was full of potential. He began to approach his daily life with a different perspective. Instead of feeling defeated by the routine, he saw possibilities. Every job he took, every project he started, and every connection he made became part of his larger vision. He stopped viewing his work as mere survival and began to see it as part of a strategy that was slowly building momentum. Slowly but surely his efforts began to pay off. He realized that success wasn't about waiting for a big break or being in the right place at the right time. It was about showing up, taking action, and making his own luck. One of the first changes he noticed was his ability to spot opportunities. He had always assumed that success was for the lucky few, for those who were born into the right circumstances or had the right connections. But now, every interaction seemed like a chance. A simple conversation with someone at a coffee shop led to a new business idea. A casual meeting with a former coworker turned into a partnership that opened doors to new ventures. The man started approaching everything with the mindset that there was something to learn, something to gain, and something to create from every situation. His perspective had shifted from a passive observer to an active creator of his own fate. He wasn't just looking for opportunities anymore, he was creating them. His thinking had evolved from waiting for the perfect opportunity to making every moment an opportunity to learn, grow, or build something new. He began to take risks, not recklessly, but calculated ones. Instead of holding back because of fear or self-doubt, he pushed himself to take actions that would move him toward his goals. He became more confident in his decisions, even when they weren't guaranteed to succeed. For the first time, he understood that failure wasn't something to avoid. It was a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey. As time went on, the man's small ventures began to grow. What started as side projects, things he had once dismissed as insignificant, were now turning into successful businesses. His first real breakthrough came when he decided to take one of his ideas seriously. He had always been passionate about technology and the growing market for online services. Instead of dismissing it as an impossible dream, he threw himself into the project with everything he had. He started by building a basic website and offering his services online. The first few months were tough, with little to no income, but he didn't give up. He was working smarter now, focusing on what he could control and constantly tweaking his approach based on what he learned. Slowly, the website gained traction and the clients began to come in. What followed was a period of rapid growth. The more successful projects he completed, the more his reputation grew. He gained referrals from satisfied clients, which led to new partnerships and larger contracts. His ability to spot opportunities, no matter how small, helped him expand into different areas of business. He diversified, taking on more clients and branching out into new markets. Instead of waiting for things to fall into place, he was creating his own success story. By applying Musk's principle of creating opportunities rather than waiting for them, he built a network of clients, collaborators, and supporters who were invested in his growth. It wasn't long before the man's success was undeniable. His business reached new heights, and he began to see the kind of financial results he had once thought impossible. His income grew exponentially as his client base expanded and his brand became recognized. He moved from struggling to make ends meet to being financially stable, and then to being comfortably wealthy. It was hard work, but it was paying off. With each passing year, his business grew, and so did his bank account. He invested wisely, taking the lessons he'd learned from Musk's advice and applying them to his financial decisions. His mindset of seeing opportunity everywhere allowed him to diversify his income streams, which helped ensure long-term success. Eventually, the man achieved something he had once thought unimaginable. He became a millionaire. It wasn't an overnight success, nor was it a result of a single idea or investment. His wealth came from years of hard work, persistence, and a shift in mindset. He had taken Musk's advice to heart and applied it consistently. With each opportunity he created, with each risk he took, He built his success brick by brick. It wasn't just about having money. It was about having control over his future, creating the life he had always dreamed of. His journey wasn't just about financial success. It was about personal transformation. Now, looking back, the man realized how far he had come. He was no longer the person who had been skeptical of Musk's advice. He was living proof that a change in mindset, combined with hard work, could turn anyone's life around. He had learned to see opportunities where others saw obstacles, to take risks where others hesitated, and to act when others waited. What had started as a simple piece of advice from a billionaire had turned into the foundation of his success. And in a few short years, he had gone from struggling to make ends meet to living a life he had never imagined possible. What does this story teach us? It's not just about luck. It's about mindset. The man's transformation didn't happen because he stumbled upon a secret formula for success or because he got lucky. It happened because he decided to change the way he saw the world around him. For so long, he had been waiting for a break, a chance to succeed. But once he shifted his thinking from waiting for opportunities to creating them, that's when things started to change. The real key to his success was the realization that the power to change his circumstances lay within him. Mindset isn't just about thinking positively. It's about actively shaping your reality. It's about deciding to take action even when the road ahead seems uncertain. Instead of focusing on all the things that could go wrong, he began focusing on what he could control and how he could move forward. He learned to recognize that success is not something that happens to you. It's something you make happen. And that's the lesson that this story reveals. It's the simple truth that anyone, no matter their circumstances, has the potential to change their life by changing the way they think. This man wasn't born into wealth or privilege. He didn't have an extraordinary set of skills or resources when he started. What he had was a mindset that allowed him to see opportunities where others saw obstacles. He stopped waiting for things to change and instead made the decision to create change himself. The moment he decided to act, everything started to fall into place. His mindset turned the impossible into the possible, and his life began to shift in ways he never imagined. The story is a reminder that success isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about taking the first step, even if you don't have all the answers. It's about believing in yourself and having the courage to act, even in the face of uncertainty. The man's journey shows us that with the right perspective, anyone can turn their life around just like he did. So, what would you do with $1 and a piece of advice from someone like Elon Musk? The choice is yours. Remember, it's not about waiting for opportunities, it's about creating them. The man in this story changed his life by shifting his mindset and taking action, and you can do the same. The power to change your circumstances lies within you. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories and insights. Thanks for watching, and remember, your next big opportunity could be just one mindset shift away.